What's up, guys? Dylan Rush with K-Chai Press, joined today by a UFC middleweight boasting a 10-2 professional record, set to take on Jacob Malkoun on March 30th at UFC Fight Night in Atlantic City. Andre Petroski. How you doing, Andre?
Fucking everything's great, man. Just excited to fight again. Love the matchup. I want March 30th to be here, and I hate waiting around.
You're chomping at the bit. I got to ask you this. So your first fight ever was in Atlantic City, a victory over Jesse Stokes in your amateur debut, CFFC 54, just over 8 years ago. Now you're heading back to AC and you're fighting at the highest level. Does this feel like a full circle moment for you, man?
For sure, man. My first fight was at the Borgata in AC. And yeah, that was like the moment that I knew that this was what I wanted to do the rest of my life, or at least for as long as I could. But yeah, definitely full circle.
Speaking of full circle, that first amateur fight was CFFC. As I mentioned, nowadays you've been doing a little commentating for them, right? You've been getting into that commentary realm of the fight game, right?
Yeah, for sure. I like commentating. I'm always open to it. I'm always available. So if anyone out there needs a commentator, hit me up.
I heard you're doing a good job over there. So I'm hosting a press conference this week for us, the upcoming card, CFFC 129, in Philadelphia. You have some teammates fighting on the card, I believe, right? Taylor Samarco and Manny Morales. What are you expecting out of those guys, that girl and that guy on Friday night?
Yeah, so we have three of them. Taylor, Cameron Scalio. They both are defending their belts, and then Manny as well. Um, I think I'm looking at 3-0. I think we end the night 3-0 with three finishes.
Are you going to be in the building for this one?
So I'm going to Vegas for Pyfer's fight.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I leave tomorrow. I got my body bag shirt on. It doesn't fit me anymore, but
That's a good fight, right? Who's he fighting? Jack Hermanson.
correct.
He's getting the main event, right?
Yep, first Philly main event.
Hell yeah, man. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last week I was an assistant for a UFC video shoot I told you with Jared Gordon. As you know, he had a remarkable story overcoming addiction, achieving his dream, making it to the UFC, a similar story to you. And in my last interview with Jared last October, he spoke about the comments you made about how Jared inspired you and how much it means to him to help other people. So I wanted to ask, is that one of your primary goals in your career as well, to help other people as your platform grows?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's like my duty, you know. Not to be corny or whatever, but like God definitely saved me for sure. Like I was in a real dark place, and people were there to help me, so I feel if anybody, if anyone came to me and asked for help, like, yeah, it would be my duty to try to steer them in the right direction for sure.
Definitely. Don't kill the messenger here, but the producer of the video shoot last week was a guy named Sal Maresca. He was the producer of your season 29 of Tough as well. He wanted me to tell you to go fuck yourself.
Sal's a good guy. I like Sal a lot. I definitely tortured him a little bit on the show, but he's a good dude. So I'll let him have that one. He can have that one. I deserve it. But yeah, he's a good dude.
He was a dope guy, man. I met him last week. He was my boss of the week. I'm looking forward to working with him again. So
Yeah.
you were 5-0 in the UFC prior to your last time out, 3 finishes, 2 big decision victories over Wellington Turman and Gerald Mearshart. Were there any key takeaways from that first UFC defeat a couple months ago?
Yeah, I think my whole my whole mantra has always been like I can do anything. And I think that this year it's going to be a little different. Like it's no longer like I can do anything. It's more so like I need to be smart, be a little bit smarter about what I'm doing. Um, it was like I definitely have that like I can do anything mentality, but I think the cards were stacked against me. Just the whole situation for the last fight was was really a tough situation. You know, my weight was super heavy when they called me. I was on literally the other side of the world. I was in Thailand when they called me on 10 days notice. You know, I was just, and I mean, I still think that I could have beat him, but just the weight cut really, really got to me. And I think it's more so just about being a little bit smarter.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to make excuses for you, and I know you're not making any excuses, but 10 days notice, you're in Thailand, makes sense. Cards were kind of stacked against you right there if you're, your weight and whatnot. How was it? I saw you reunited with Brian Ortega on the topic of tough. You met up with him back in December, right? What was that like? And are you expecting a big victory for him over Yair Rodriguez when he returns to the cage this month?
Dude, Brian's the man. Like, he's anytime I go out to LA, he's like, yo, if you need anything, let me know. Like, if you need a car, like he's the man. He's such a good dude. As far as like him, I personally think like he's the most dangerous dude in that division. Like, he's the only one to really put Volkanovski in like serious danger. Like, he is like the double threat. He's got dangerous striking. He can go to war. Like, obviously he can be in the wars. He's shown that, and his grappling is like more dangerous than anyone else in that division. So, yeah, I think his last fight with Yair was the tough one. Because he didn't really even get going yet, and he's struggled with the injuries before, but man, he looks good. Like, he seems a little different, like just like a new perspective on fighting and like why he's fighting. And I think him going down there to Mexico City is going to be that's going to be a crazy fight, man. They're both Mexicans and just ready to go to war.
Oh yeah, the atmosphere there is gonna be dope. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen some comments recently. You know how people are across social media talking about like why is he still in the rankings? He's ranked 30, he hasn't fought in so long. I'm like, of course, he's been injured, but like y'all must have forgot. Did you guys not see that fight with Volk and all
Yeah.
that like he really was this close. He was the close other than Islam, of course, but no featherweights ever beat Volk. He was like seconds away, man. So I'm definitely excited for that fight. Let's talk about your fight, March 30th. You're back in action against Jacob Malkoun. Not the biggest name in the division, but certainly one of the tougher guys. He has victories over Abdul Razak Al Hassan, Nick Maximov. I felt like he defeated Brendan Allen back in 2022. But what makes Malkoun a favorable stylistic matchup for yourself?
I mean, I continue to make the argument that I'm the best grappler in the division. And Malkoun has, like, at least at one point, he had the highest takedown ratio of any fighter in the UFC. He just takes everybody down. So that's like a challenge that excites me. So it's a good one. I like this matchup. I think it's like the perfect fight for me to display like how good my grappling really is.
Definitely, definitely. You stole my next question about the highest takedown ratio in the division. To get a victory on March 30th, to get back in that win column, what would that do for you in this stage of your career or for your mindset or for you going forward?
I think it puts me in a good spot as far as like getting a top 15 guy next. Yeah, obviously I suffered that loss to Pereira, but I still think that honestly that's one I would love to get back. There's a lot of big middleweight fights this weekend on Joey's card. I'm watching that Armin Petrosian Rodolfo Vieira fight. I think that's a good one. And Brad Tavares is fighting who is he fighting?
I'll look real quick. You were booked against Petrosian at one point, right? Or am I confused?
Yeah. That was me. I had to pull out. I tore my rotator cuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was supposed to be in Jersey too at Newark.
Oh yeah, Brad Tavares is fighting RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez. That would be a good fight.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Either of
Yeah,
those
that's definitely a good
cool
one.
matchups. Either of those guys, winner of that fight.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, I think 6-1. If you win this next fight, you'll be 6-1 in the UFC. Your only loss will be to one of the highest level guys on 10 days notice. So I think you definitely have a great argument to get a ranked fight in your next one after this one. Do you expect the crowd to be at your back from start to finish?
At your back? You mean on my side?
Yes, yeah. Rooting for you.
I hope so, man.
I would.
uh, yeah. Honestly, before you said, I hadn't even thought about that until you said it. Um, I'm going out there. I'm gonna go. I've never been in Boardwalk Hall, to be honest. Um, but I'm gonna go out for New Jersey High School Wrestling States. It's at the end of the month, end of February, and just get a feel for the arena and stuff. But I love that stuff. Like I love thinking about that. I remember when I fought Turman in at MSG,
Mhm.
and they were screaming loud for me, and that's I love it. Like obviously that helps.
That was a dope fight. I really like that fight. Are you a wrestling
Yeah.
coach or do you teach?
What's that?
Are you a wrestling coach? Like of a
Yeah.
oh, you are,
No, not of a high school. Not at a high school.
but you teach classes.
I teach on Thursday night. I teach a wrestling class at Team Taino.
Mm-hmm. And you
That's
told
where Jake was.
how do you enjoy that? You like teaching?
It's a challenge, but it's definitely rewarding. And at the end of the day, like I want my kids to be able to have success in at least training, at least train martial arts. And so I have to become a better teacher in order to be a better coach for them. And just like all around, like just being able to teach is such a powerful thing. Like being able to communicate effectively, like just I used to teach adults. And when I went out to LA and trained with like Henner and Brian, it kind of opened my eyes up. And once I came back, I told Eddie I just want to teach the kids now. And I went back to teaching the kids because it's like you don't have to be like a good teacher to teach adults. Like most adults, like you don't really have to. It's easy. Like it's easier to teach adults, but teaching kids is you have to have the analogies and you got to do it. You got to keep their attention. So it's a little bit more challenging, but I want to be able to do it for my kids. So that's why that was kind of my main motivation.
Do you have kids yet?
Yeah, my daughter's 4. She takes the 4 and under class at the gym.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I try to stay out of the class, honestly. Even when I'm like in there, I don't teach it, but even if I'm in there, if I'm even in the building, like I'm just a distraction to her. So, and that was like a process. Like she started when she was 3 and she would be like into it for like 5 minutes and then one week not be into it at all. So I kind of just like didn't really push her. And then lately she's been into it. So it's been really good.
That's awesome. Especially at that age, man. 3 and 4. That's great. When did you start? You
Yeah.
started wrestling when you were like 5, right?
So I won my first wrestling tournament when I was 4.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I won like a novice tournament, but my dad was the coach. So honestly, I don't really remember that far back, but yeah, I started young. I don't really know how much. I think he did it pretty similar to how I'm doing it, where like, they're just in the room, they're always in the gym, and like it doesn't have to be like as structured all the time and like as serious. It's just like, you show them something, you let them run around the gym. You show them something, you let them run around the gym, and over time they just start watching and they start picking up stuff. And I mean, that's my daughter. My daughter's always in the gym. Like she's just there watching or doing class you know, or neither, playing with the dogs. Like, yeah.
Well, if a couple years down the line she comes to you and she says, "Dad, I want to be a fighter. I don't want to just wrestle or grapple. I want to be a fighter." How are you gonna feel about that?
I would be fine with it.
Oh yeah. A lot of people
Yeah.
are like, "No, I don't want my kids to fight." Other people are like, "Yeah, I'm breeding a fighter."
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, to be honest. Like she's not like at least she's young, but she doesn't really I don't really see that like super competitive side that I had. So it'll be interesting though. Like, yeah, I think it's better, honestly, because since she's not like crazy competitive, I don't like push her like really hard like my dad did.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I just let her be herself.
Makes sense. You might be done with fighting by the time she maybe a decade or two from now, right? But there's a little bit more longevity in the journalism game. So maybe I'll be interviewing your daughter 20 years down the line ahead of a UFC fight. That would be pretty
Or
cool.
maybe I'll be commentating one of her fights.
Yeah, that would be even cooler. That would be a cool
Yeah.
one. I got one last one for you, Andre. What are you hoping to accomplish in the year 2024? And do you have a message for all the fans that have stuck by you every step of the way? What can we expect to see from Andre Petroski this year?
More finishes, man. I want to get back in the finish column. My last two wins were by decision, and that's not my way of. I want to finish fights, And I've been working on a lot of stuff, like a lot of. I got some tricks up my sleeve, so I can't wait to display it. 2024, I definitely want to get 3 fights in. That's my goal. If I could do March and then one time in summer and then another one before the end of the year, that's the goal. This is my job. I want to stay busy, but I do want to be smart about the fights.
Have you fought in another country?
Yeah, I fought in Abu Dhabi. That was my fight with Hu Yao Zhang.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you want an international fight this year, or what do you like? You want to fight it in November at MSG again?
Um,
Those taxes,
the
man. I don't
international's
want to.
cool, but like there's a side to that a lot of people don't see is like the whole taxes. Like the taxes fighting in other countries can be crazy. It depends where it's at. I would love to go back to Abu Dhabi personally. I had a good time there, but I will say like the travel is not to be underestimated. And I will not take it as lightly as I did when I was in Thailand for my last fight. Like that travel definitely took it out of me and made the weight cut so much harder. So there's benefits to fighting over internationally, but it depends where it's at for sure.
Definitely. Are we getting a bonus in March?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time in. March 30th, Andre Petroski, Jacob Malkoun, middleweight bout, Atlantic City. It's going to be a good one, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me.
You too, man. Be good.